Hello friends, hello. I know yet again I did not announce that I was going live on here, but I kind of decided to do this really last minute because I just took just did a seminar that was through the Growing Studio in New York City, and it was with really big name casting directors, and they were basically chatting about the future of our industry. And I think it's really important information. And if you weren't able to get into it, I took so many notes, so I don't know how in depth I'm gonna get. I literally just got off of the free seminar. I just think that this is really helpful information for all of us to hear, and to collectively kind of get on board. And I'm gonna try to keep it as condensed as I can. I took a lot of notes, so I'm gonna be referencing my notes a lot. But let's go through who was there. So, of course, I don't know what it is on my, hi, if you're new, hi, my name is Emily, this is the home of the Forever Theater Kid. My last live, I was literally wearing the same thing. Hi, today I did my makeup and my hair. It's not important, but that's where I'm at today during this crazy time we live in. And I will be saying things like this crazy time we live in because YouTube likes to demonetize us for saying other things. And I might even get demonetized for just saying that. So the girl's got to make her money. So this is where we're at. Okay, future of our industry. Crazy times we're living in. Broadway is shut down. We all know this. We're all staying home. We are all safe. We are staying as healthy as possible. If you are watching this and you're sick, if you are watching this and a loved one of yours is sick, know that my thoughts and our whole community's thoughts and prayers are with you. Do what you can to stay healthy. Do what you can to stay sane, and find any moment of happiness that you can and hold on to it. By no means am I trying to talk about our industry, the acting and theater industry, as the most important industry right now, but this is our reality, and this is a lot of our careers, and this is a lot of our livelihoods. So it is really important to many of us. But I understand, like, we have so many people who are fighting the good fight, who are out there every single day, who are in our hospitals taking care of us, who are at our grocery stores helping us restock our shelves and keep everything available to us so that we can buy it. There are people on the front lines of this whole situation that cannot go unthanked. The people that are constantly in my videos, I'm usually going, oh, I'm so annoyed with all these ambulances going by. Well, I'm so thankful for them now. I'm so thankful for all the work that people are doing. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. Now on to what's going on and what we think is going on. I need to plug in my phone because I'm afraid it's gonna die. Babe, do you have a charger by any chance over there? I'm calling in the troops.
Where are you?
I'm right here. YouTube? I'm on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
But for some reason I can't stream on my freaking computer. I don't know what that's about. Hello, the one friend is here. Thank you for being here. All right. I'm going to just try to plug this in. Sorry, you might be seeing my butt a little bit. My booty. My bootay. I don't know if that's charging. Let's give it a try. Maybe? Who knows? We're trying. Okay. Okay, so let's try to get this done as quickly and efficiently as possible. I don't think that's plugged in. I don't think that's properly working. Oh my gosh. Emily, should you have your sources prepped before going on? Yes. Do we here? Probably not. It is not letting me know that it is charging. Okay, we're just gonna go with it. Okay. So, the people that were in attendance. We had Duncan Stewart of Stewart and Whitley Casting. Scotty Wojick and Seay Casting. Michael Cassara of Cassara Casting. Geoff, oh my gosh, Josselson of Seay Casting and Sarah Cooney of Binder Casting. In the whole first part of, before we really got into the Q&As, there was a lot of discussion about use this time the best that you can. Use this time to rest, because it has been a crazy season so far, as every audition season is. But take this time to rest. Take this time to do what I did, self-care. Like, if you need ideas on self-care at this time, I have a whole video about it. But take this time to take care of yourself, not only just for your health, but also for your mental health. Do things that maybe you've always wanted to try. Try playing that instrument that's been in your corner that you bought really cheap from a thrift store, and just try it, you know, give things a go. Try to find a new hobby. Try to find something that can occupy your space and your time that might not be directly related to theater, but also could help you and could be a special skill. I think that can be a little daunting to think, oh, now I have to learn a new special skill. You don't, but this could be an opportunity to try that instrument you always wanted to try, to play around with cooking, you know, to try different things that maybe you always go, oh, if only I had the time to do this. Well, now most of us only have time, right? So they were saying, play with that. To not overplan. Don't overplan, because everything is in flux right now. Nothing is super solidified. There are shows that, yeah, are definitely coming back to Broadway. There are shows that are still going on, but maybe just postponed for a couple of weeks or a couple of months in different seasons. But not to overplan, because number one, overplanning at this time is so unnecessary. I don't know about any of y'all, today is April 1st. I opened up my April calendar and it's blank. I don't think I've ever looked at a calendar that is completely blank of appointments, of auditions, of just anything, plans, like just anything. It's nuts. So yeah, just kind of take this time to like breathe a little bit, because that's necessary. And if, you know, I don't think when we get back to normal life, whatever normal life is going to be after this, it's all going to be go, go, go. But there is going to be a certain level of hustle that comes back after audition season begins again. There was even an idea of like, it's going to be considered probably a new audition season, because most things that have been cast may not be going on anymore. Regionally, summer stock, like we just don't know. So that was kind of the overall feel of this conversation, is we just don't know, right? And it's true. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating, because we want answers, but we just don't have those answers. And this is a time that Scott Wojick was saying, like, this is a time to let go. This is a time for us actors. And I got a little like, but then at the same time, I know I'm one of those people that wants to have control. This is a time for us to realize that we don't have the control in the overarching situation. They don't, our casting directors don't even have control. It's a lot of it depends on the houses, the theaters that can reopen after this, that can come back, that can continue with their season, that can postpone. Once they have the answers, they'll bring those answers to the casting offices, and then the casting offices will bring the information to us. Us meaning, who knows, right? Who knows what that us means? Does us mean just the casting, or does us mean just agencies and managers? Does us mean just equity and people in different unions? Does it mean all of us? Like, those are questions that I have, but again, that is a level of control that I don't have. So so what is kind of the state of auditions right now? The state of auditions is self-tapes are the new reality. Directors that are going, I love that Duncan Stewart was like one of these people to be like, all those directors that have said, I don't base things off self-tapes. Well, now you're going to have to if you want a show. And I appreciate that, because self-tapes are such an asset that I just don't think have been utilized well in the past. And I think it's important to not just discount them. I think I've been living in this fairy tale world where I've thought that self-tapes really have been considered kind of on close to on par, but they haven't been, and hopefully now they will have more respect towards them. And because I think, yeah, there is this magical feeling that you can get when you feel someone in the room with live theater, but audition, I just don't think that auditioning and the working actor are always the same person. You could have an amazing person who, you could have a machine, someone who is a machine that can audition and do the same thing and do the work constantly and have that. But when it comes to bringing it live to a stage, there's nothing, you know, and I think that's a reality that isn't talked about a lot. And I think that when you present someone with the work done on camera, that you can see a lot of magic happening behind the camera. And I hope that now that the things that were discounted and weren't taken as seriously will be respected more through self-tape. And I think people don't have a choice but to respect the work that is done self-tape, especially with the limited means that people have for self-tapes now. So basically, Sarah Cooney said that there is a video on Playbill. I encourage you to go to check it out. I will try to link it down below if my phone doesn't die. I'm really worried that it is going to die, though. Gabe, can you get me a tip for charger, please? Because I really don't know if this one's working. But apparently self-tapes for things that... Self-tapes have been happening. Self-tapes are the initial audition, and then there are doing Zoom callbacks. So that is something that's happening, which I thought was very interesting. But are people still looking for like future things? That's not quite happening right now. The breakdowns that are out are kind of the ones that are still out and remain out until they're cast. There's really not a lot of new breakdowns coming in. A lot of them, if they are going, Michael Cassara was saying that they're going to Actors Access. So if you don't have an Actors Access, maybe start one. I have an Actors Access, or I'm going to get an Actors Access because I just want to have that information at my hand. But new projects are kind of being put on hold right now because, again, we just don't know what's next. We just don't know where things are going. I am out of breath because I'm talking so fast. But yeah, a lot is on pause. I mean, they were even saying how like London and the West End could very well be on pause until January of 2021. That made my heart go all the way down to my butt. Like, I was just like, what? Like, that was crazy. Of course, I think that's like worst case scenario. And I think they were saying that the theaters are collectively like solidarity are all gonna make the move together when the West End comes back. But just that idea, like that made my heart sink because the theater industry is so huge. And it's not just the theaters, it's the restaurants surrounding the theaters. It's the hotels in the area. It's tours, it's all these things. Like there's so much connected to the theater industry. It's a lot like the sports industry where there's so many microcosms in this big ecosystem of this industry. You know, yeah, we're not considered essential because that's why we were one of the first industries to completely shut down, but we're not essential in terms of survival, imminent survival for people, but we are essential in terms of escapism. And that's why I think it's great that so many people are online and bringing art, because art is essential. Like that's what maybe going to theater and going to a space to watch theater might not be considered essential right now, but art is essential. And I think that's important to remember. And I think that's important to know that artists are essential. What we create in the world is keeping people happy, and happiness is keeping people alive. And I know that just posting a song for someone can save their entire day. And to me, that is essential. So I think that's important to know. And I don't think that's what they were saying. I don't think the casting directors were saying art is not essential, because that's also their livelihood. But you know, in terms of the world and money making and people gathering, that's not essential for people to gather to watch theater. We can collectively watch something on a screen safely and still get the benefits of theater. So I do think that's where they were coming from, but when they said the art theater wasn't essential, I was like, oh, my heart. But then I recalibrated. Okay, so things that were, I kind of have, so what are things that we can, what were they saying? A lot of people were saying, a lot of our casting directors that were chatting were saying things that we can do right now. What are things that we can do as artists, as actors in our industry? What can we do during this time? There was a lot of talk about research, like watch pop culture things, watch things that are classics that maybe you've never seen before and you don't get the references when people make them. You know, ask people of different generations who were your greatest musical icons and look into that. I think that's a great thing. You know, I think you can go down the rabbit hole of Janis Joplin and listen to all of her categories and listen to all of her songs so you can get an idea of what certain musicals are trying to do. You know, you can do that with Carole King. You can do that with, they were mentioning Jewel. Like, you can do that. I think that's a great option to do, and it doesn't cost money if you have internet access, which most people do at this point, to use your time wisely. Like, if you're gonna go down a rabbit hole, go down a rabbit hole that's gonna give you some enrichment, if that's what you want. I think there's nothing wrong with binging, you know, some HGTV for your entire day. Get your materials in line. Like what we are saying is that there's so much out of our control, and that's something that actors, we always know. There's so much out of our control. But what is in our control is our work, our materials. These are things that we can physically work on. These are things that we can physically get in order so that when the time comes, when the doors open, we can step on in and we're prepared. So people said to, you know, work on your website if you can. That's something I would really like to work on. It is on my list. I do have a website, but I need to work on it. Work on your online presence. Y'all, social media, it's a huge thing. And your online presence is so important. You have to work on your online presence. Whether it's just like, you don't have to be a TikTok star. You don't have to be an Instagram model. You just need to be there. You need to have a voice. You need to be saying something about something. Like, don't Aaron Burr it, right? Like, be a Hamilton. Like, speak your words, speak your truth. Whatever that truth is, as long as it's not hurting anybody. Record what you can. I heard that a bunch. Like, record what you're able to record. What I was really liking what Michael Cassara was talking about. I think Michael was kind of getting to the point of like the existential feelings that a lot of actors are feeling right now. It's just like, what do we do? Like, how do we connect with our community? Maybe he was saying that maybe now's not the right time to try to form new connections with like casting directors you don't know personally and directors you don't know and stuff like that. Now is the time to check in on your tribe. Now is the time to check in on the families that you have created. Like, create a Zoom conference with past casts. Like, have a happy hour with people that you have formed huge connections with that you haven't been able to talk to in a long time because nobody has the time. Like, use this time wisely if you can, if you're able to connect with those communities. Because what's the best part about the theater industry is the community. I've said this time and time again. This is the time, they're saying this is a time to foster those relationships that you had. And who knows, things could come out of that, right? Like, people could be like, oh, that's right, Emily was great. I'd love to work with her again. Or, you know, it can remind people that Emily's not my favorite person to work with. You know, like you refresh your feelings on your community, on your relationships. Like, take time to put care back into those relationships that you have created in the past and that you worked hard to create. Because guess what? Our casting directors, they want to take time to remember who's important to them, right, in their lives right now. And, you know, what care do they have for someone like me who doesn't know them personally and it's just going to be like, hi, my name's Emily Martinez. I'd love a job. They're like, it's not important to me right now. Like, my family's important to me. My connections I've made from years and years are important to me. Like, this is a time that they're absolutely fostering those relationships. So this is an opportunity for you to foster your past relationships as well. But like, you can work on your book, right? You can work on your book. You can organize your book. I need to organize my book. That's something I totally have to do. And I've been wanting to do a video on it. So I should do that. But I love the idea of digital organization, right? Like, maybe get your music onto a PDF and put it onto a personal Dropbox, so that if you ever do, they were saying, if you ever do leave your book on the subway when the subways are up and running again, which, are the subways not running anymore? Didn't know that. Or when we are taking the subway anymore. That things are still accessible. You can get them online. So have your headshots up there, have your resume up there, have your media kit up there. Like, have things in a place where you can access them, or they can be accessible. I love that, digital organization. I'm all about that. I've been doing that with my phone and my pictures. So you can do that as well with what we've got going on in our industry. I'm trying so hard to just keep going through this. They were speaking about representation and senior showcases. I don't know how many of y'all are like in theater in college, but you know, the showcase life is real for seniors. My college only really started getting into it when I was a senior, so like I don't really know that as well because I only kind of touched on it from my school. But a lot of schools are doing digital showcases at this time, and it's also giving people giving the casting directors a chance to see more if they want to, and not feel the pressure to go because they can't always go. So that's an option now. But it's also good because there was finally this talk of a shift, that like a digital archive should be, we're in 2020. We should have a digital archive. That should be like what we have. So hopefully I was hearing these talks that like things are going to shift. It's going to be a hybrid. It's not going to all be new. It's not going to all be old. Like, there's got to be a shift. We know that a shift has to happen. And now it's probably going to happen because life, our normal is going to be different than it ever has been before. And nobody knows what that new normal is going to be. But we do know that there are things that worked in terms of performing, in terms of auditions, in terms of cataloging. There are things that have worked, but there are things that haven't worked, and there are things like the digital realm that like offer solutions to things that didn't work. So there is going to be a hybrid. What that is going to be, people still don't know. I wish I had those answers for you, but I don't. I have ideas, but then they kind of go out of my head like 10 minutes later, and I'm like, what was that idea again? Okay. Moving along. I thought this was interesting information, that there is going to be a huge financial reset of our industry in terms of, when people feel comfortable to go to theater again. Most people are probably not going to be able to pay the prices that they would have. It's probably going to be a new type of recession. I don't know. That's just my thought. But so people aren't going to be able to pay the same price for tickets to Hadestown that they may have been able to pay. So maybe ticket prices might go down, which means prices in terms of theaters and people's paychecks is probably going to shift. Like, your weekly pays might not be the same as it was. So that's a reality that we are going to have to face. But like, as someone, the guy who was moderating it, and I can't quite put his name to my brain right now, that prices for rent is still probably going to be the same. So it's going to be a new reality. And what theaters are going to open, especially like regional, what theaters are going to open, all depends on their financial situation. We don't know what theaters are specifically going to open and what are going to stay closed. We just don't know that because we don't know the financial situation that different theaters are in. We hope as many are going to open as possible because